Hey guys, Josh's Boosters here and welcome back to another Yu-Gi-Oh video. Today I'm starting like a new series kind of thing. I want to call it where I'm going to be mostly focusing on analyzing my own technical play and I guess potentially my opponents as well. But I'm going to do that in a specific tournament, which is a winner box tournament held for the Netherlands and Belgium Facebook page. Which is like an annual thing, basically whenever one of the winner boxes ends, another begins, and those are, I think, all the time just sponsored by members of the community for free, so the tournament is actually free to play, and usually the winner just takes all, gets the box. So a massive shout out to, first of all, Yuri Landsman, who always organizes the tournaments, and then all the people who have supported the tournaments in the past. But yeah, there are some rules to the tournament which I think will make it interesting to watch the series, which are each week one round is played, so you have like 1 week to set up a date with your opponent and play. On Dueling Book, using the current TCG ban list, so if the ban list changes, then during the next round you will be allowed to play, or you have to play with the new ban list. When a new set is released mid-tournament, the set becomes legal during the next week of the tournament basically. And you also are not forced to be playing the same deck list the entire Swiss rounds anyway. So each round I can potentially play a different deck to like counterpick my opponents, or just, you know, to change up my deck if I felt something just didn't work like I thought it would in the previous rounds, which is very cool. So that will also give you like a little bit of a glance at the deck building perspective. Then during Top Cut, if we manage to get there, we are forced to play with the decklist we handed in, which will be top 8. I think there's 64 participants, so we're playing 6 rounds and then top 8. But yeah, I guess that's it for the introduction. Let's just first take a look at the decks I played for the first round and then analyze the replay. Alright guys, time to check out the decklist first. I want to point out that usually my plan is to actually go pretty thoroughly through the decklist. However, I did a deck profile on this specific deck not too long ago on the channel, which I will be linking somewhere in the screen here. So if you really want like an in-depth analysis of the decklist, be sure to check that out because I already did a video on it, so I'm not gonna talk about it for like 15 minutes again. But I did make some slight changes, I think, so I'll just run through the decklist pretty quickly. As you could have seen in the thumbnail, the deck I played for the very first round of the tournament is actually Trap Burning Abyss. Or well, I guess you also saw Dogmatika Invoked in the thumbnail. But I assume if you're familiar with the channel, you didn't think I was playing that specific deck. The reason why I played this deck is because I just think it's generically very strong going first against literally every matchup, to be honest. Because, you know, Beatrice, Dragoon, and then a bunch of traps. There is no single deck that doesn't struggle with a field like that. And then going second, I also think this deck is strong. You're playing like board break traps, like Torrential Tribute, Dynamiscus, Wind Blast, Strike, Ice Dragon's Prison. Almost every trap in the decklist is like, you know, it contributes to breaking boards. And then the Burning Abyss engine itself is also very good at breaking boards, just because it allows you to easily go for Divine Arsenal Zeus. So yeah, I figured this was just a good generic pick. And I was kind of afraid of being counterpicked and people mainnecking like Lancia and stuff if I played Phantom Knight, so I just went with this. So going through the decklist, I'm playing 1 Alec, 1 Barbar, 1 Calcap, and 1 Libic for like the tech BAs. They all serve their purpose. Libic will help you sometimes extend or play through stuff, and then Alec, you know, it's just Farfa gets rid of your opponent's problematic monsters, but Alec sort of does the same. And then Calcap against the back row decks, and Barbar's just there as another name, because you need multiple names when you're going second. Then I'm playing Triple Seer, Triple Grev, and Triple Skarm. Those are just the best ones, Skarm specifically. Double Farfa, you always want 1 in deck. So playing 1 is not enough, and 2 is just perfectly fine. I'm playing Triple Tour Guides. This is just the best normal summon in the game, right? And then the 2 bricks for the Dragoon stuff. No hand traps, because I figured all the traps I'm playing are actually, in this specific format, good enough to break the combo-ish boards. I'm playing 1 Call by the Grave, One Foolish, shouldn't really have to explain too much about that. The Red Eyes Fusion, of course, and then Triple Prosperity. I think this card is very good in this deck. There are some specific cards that are specifically good going first or going second, so you can banish either of those when you are going first or second, because you won't need them anyway. And this just helps you dig through to whatever you need. Then traps I'm playing is double Fiend Grieving. This is both a disruption as well as like a semi-start, because it can send Skarm to the graveyard or like Gref, depending on the situation, of course. Double Ice Dragon's Prison. This card is just really good. One Order. This card's last format, I don't think it was that good. Like, it was more of a side deck card, but this format, I really think it's very strong again, so it's in the main deck now. Then triple Dynamism and double Wind Blast, just 5 discard traps. They sort of serve the same purpose. They also trigger your BA, so yeah, a very, very strong card. Triple Strike, I mean, yeah, triple Torrential, and then 1 Trap Trick. It might seem a bit random, and it is a bit random. Almost all the traps in the deck are a target for this, but you don't really want to see multiple Trap Trick. And it's not, yeah, that's it basically. You just don't want to really see multiples, and it's not like you need to see it, right? It's just a nice option to have. And I wanted to keep the deck count to 40 as close as possible anyway, because playing 40 cards is just the best way to go. Deciding is 1 Ariel against those graveyard decks to send with Beatrice. Triple Sphere Mode. I think this card is crazy in this deck. Very good against Dragon Link. You can just Sphere Mode them, then special 2 BAs, go for Zeus, and then GG. Triple Dark Ruler No More. It's a little bit like Sphere Mode, where you can just go Dark Ruler and then go into Zeus and then set your traps and win. Lightning Storm against the backrow decks. Twin Twister against the backrow decks, and Reboot against the backrow decks. Just because this deck's actually very capable of putting off an OTK, so Lightning Storm is pretty good. And then same for Reboot. And Twin Twister, it seems like a little bit random, right? But this is basically just the 5th back row removal card I'm playing, and Reboot and Lightning Storm is just strictly better in my opinion. And then Triple Judgment for going first. Actually, like, it's 1 Pilgrim, 1 Dragoon, 1 Beatrice, double Dante, double Zeus, Downard. The best going second card, Fortune Tune, a Break Sword, because we have to play some Phantom Knight cards. Appaloosa, Cherubini, the Gravity Controller for if you open Seer and the random BA. Nightmare Unicorn, just to play through stuff. And of course the Verte. So yeah, that is the deck list. Honestly, I thought it was good last format, and I think it only got better with the hit on VFD. So yeah, let's check out the replay. Alright guys, you did not see it, but I actually did lose the rock, paper, scissors. So I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just show my hand and not my opponent's, because of course while playing I don't know what my opponent has in his hand. And just kind of analyze the game from there. And just go through it really zoom in on the details. Let's just check out my hand first. My hand is Gref, Wind Blast, Foolish Burial, Pots, and Fiend Grieving. So we have some traps to try to out problematic cards on the field. And then we have this is like having Gref and Foolish both is a little bit weird, but honestly it is fine. You can just go Foolish, send Skarm, or send Gref and then summon Skarm, or potentially what I'm probably gonna do is go Prosperity to see what I pick up, and then kind of see if I have to use the Foolish from there. Hopefully not, because if I can just pick up a random BA from pot, then I can just keep the Foolish for you know, any situation that might come up. Let's see what my... Of course, I didn't know what my opponent was playing at this time. I also wasn't familiar with him. Like, of course, I know a lot of players in the Netherlands, but I actually did not know this this guy. But he's gonna start off with normal summoning Ecclesia, and he's actually gonna opt to not use the effect. So I'm like, okay, he's probably playing like some kind of Shadow stuff, and he wants to like link this off to and not use the effect, so he can still access the extra deck, and then just link this off, and I don't know, somehow set up his plays like that. But yeah, let's just see what he's gonna do. He's gonna go into the Artemis here. So I figured he was gonna go like activate the fusion and go into construct, but he's actually just gonna set one and pass. So at this point I'm like, okay, that is very weird. Maybe he opened all the targets for Ecclesia, so he already has like Fleur de Lis, and maybe he's playing just one punishment or something. Like, I absolutely have no idea. But then he actually, I think, points out that this was actually just a misplay on his part. So, you know, good for me. I draw Dynamiscus here, which really doesn't change much about the game plan. So at this point I'm just like, okay, his set is probably punishment. Not sure though, but you know, I'm playing floaty decks, so I'm just gonna go try to play into it, I think. I'm gonna go pot first to see if I can pick up a BA. Just banish 3 because the hand is good enough. There's not like a specific card I need to see. If I just pick up another trap, that's fine. I can just play the slow game. And I'm gonna review another graph, Seer, and Call by the Grave. Actually, not the best. I'm gonna pick up the Seer just because it will help me to start playing a little bit more. And the second graph obviously doesn't do anything. Then I'm gonna go Foolish to actually send graph. So this way I'm gonna go summon Scarm, I think, and then normal Seer, and then I still have the graph in hand for any weird stuff that might happen. But he's actually gonna go Call by the Grave here to bench my graph, which is a little bit annoying. There's a couple of lines of play I could take now. I could go like Special Seer, normal graph, and then just, I guess I could go into Verte, but that way I just, actually it wouldn't be too bad because Fiend Griffin will get me access to my engine later. But I'm still thinking he's playing like some kind of Shadow deck. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go set my cards and just kind of see what he's gonna do, because with the discard traps I will be able to get back into my engine whenever I want, basically, because I can just discard the graph later in my turn and then just get going, so that's fine. He's gonna go Terraforming, so I'm feeling he's actually playing Dogmatika Invoked. It might still be Shadow, I don't know, but he's at least playing Dogmatika Invoked. Obviously he doesn't have access to something like Alistair, and maybe he has like some brick cards like Invocation in his hand. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go Dynamisks on the Meltdown, discarding the graph. The graph won't trigger because it has been called by the grave, but this will set up my Seer graveyard effect for the next turn. So the Meltdown, oh, he's sending it to the grave, it should get banished, of course, not that it really matters, but yeah. Gonna draw Dynamisks here, just gonna set it and pass again. I could potentially go Fiend Grieving and kind of see if I could start actually playing, but it's a little bit better to do it in his end phase, because that way I could potentially use graph in my turn again, where if I do it right now I can't. He still doesn't seem to be drawing anything really, which is good for me. And I think, yeah, now I'm gonna do the Fiend Grieving to shuffle back the Ecclesia. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go send Scarm and add a tour guide to my hand. So there's like a couple of things you could do here. I could also just send graph, summon like Scarm from deck, and then go for a normal summon Seer and sort of start playing like that. But I did bench the Gravity controller, so I can't do the play where I just make Dante in the extra deck monster zone, then link them off. And this way I'm still kind of, you know, not sure if he's playing Shadow or not. So I'm like, okay, if I summon tour guides and he has some kind of interruption like Ash, that's fine. I can just walk over to Artemis, and I won't be losing to Shadow Fusion. Well, if I can just resolve the tour guides, I can go for Verte Beatrice. Back with the 2 traps, which should definitely be enough to win the game. I pick up another tour guide here, which is fine. It means I just have a guaranteed follow-up. My tour guide's actually gonna resolve, so I'm gonna be able to go for the basic play. I'm gonna summon Dante, mill 1 to not mill my Realize engine. So what I could potentially have chain blocked Gruff here by going Farfa Training 2 to bench the Artemis, but he didn't negate the tour guide, so I didn't really think he had something like an Ash. Then I'm gonna go into Verte. At this point, it's kind of scary, because if he has Nibiru, which I definitely thought about because he hasn't been doing anything, so his hands could very well be hand traps. So it was kind of scary, but again, I just had so much stuff going on against his nothing that even if he nipped me here, it would have been kind of fine. But he doesn't have nip, so I'm just gonna go for this. This is not game, but it will definitely be very hard for him to come back, just because he didn't appear to have anything in his hand anyway. And then I'm gonna go resolve Scarm here. Get a Barbar, I think, just because he's very close to 0, right? So if he somehow manages to break my fields, I can just try to loop Seer and Barbar for game. But I actually think he's gonna scoop. Oh, he's actually not gonna scoop. He's gonna finally bring out Maximus, which I guess he had in his hand to begin with anyway then. Which is gonna summon. At this point, I could. There's so many lines of play I could take. I could banish it with the Dynamiscus, or just put it back to top deck. Banish it with Farfa. But I'm actually just gonna let it resolve. And the reason for that is because after that he will be locked out of the extra deck. So that means there's literally no follow-up he could do to play through my board. So I just sent the Cherubini and the Downerd here. And then I think he actually just scoops it up after that. So yeah, that was game 1. Pretty unfortunate start on his end, I want to say. Definitely not the best hand. My hand was pretty good. We just played the slow game, which was fine. And he's gonna opt to go first again in the second game. So my hand here is Farva, Tour Guide, Imperial Order, Fiend Grieving, and Stormstrike, which is a decent hand going second for sure. Tour Guide most likely won't resolve. Like, if I pick up another BA name, that will actually be very, very good, because that way I might be able to try to go into Fortune Tune, attack Zeus, then go Tour Guide and just, play Yu-Gi-Oh! And then set the traps. He's actually gonna go normal summon Azure, so I'm like, okay, I'm super lucky. He just bricked again, and now I'm just gonna be easily able to win. But it actually turns out he has some plays here which are very good even. He's gonna go for the Nadir Servant here, sending the App Clone, which is annoying because that means I will have to deal with Winda very likely. Gonna go add Shuttle Schism here and then discard Shuttle Schism, which I'm like, okay, that's cool, that's nice. That means I maybe won't have to deal with Winda after all. He's gonna go Special Ecclesia here to get Maximus. Gonna bring out the Maximus, banishing the, what's it called? The Almirage. I'm just thinking here, like, maybe, I feel like he didn't really have to normal summon the Ash, because he could have gotten access to graveyard cards, or extra deck monster in the graveyard anyway. But I'm not completely sure, I'm not super familiar with the Dogmatika deck. I have never played it, I think. No, he for sure could have just gone for... Yeah, he for sure didn't have to normal summon the Ash. He could have just gone Servant, set App Clone, get Ecclesia. Ecclesia gets... what's his face? The Maximus. Then he could have banished the App Clone and then still do this play to... and he would still have the Construct in the graveyard as a Shadow and the Dark in the Ash Dragon to get the Schism back with the Construct, so... I feel like he probably could have kept the Ash. That was a little bit of a misplay on his part. He's gonna add back the Schism like I said with the Construct, and then he's gonna set one, which I assume will be the Schism here. Which is annoying because I can't beat it. And then he's gonna add Fleur de Lis as well with the Ash Dragon, which means he will be able to negate my Tour Guide potentially if I do decide to try to go for that line. I do pick up the other BA name, which I'm gonna normal summon. On summon, he's actually gonna go Schism. I just wanted to beat over the Secure Gardener, to be honest, with the Graph, because that way he just had he lost a monster on his field, and the Graph floats anyway, so that's fine. But then it turns out he actually does have the Ash in hand for the Graph, because he's sending the Graph with the Schism effect since they're both darks, and when I trigger the Graph, he's gonna negate that. So, unlucky. We're just gonna have to set our back row and hope we do not die this turn. He's gonna go Maximus, which I feel I'm forced to strike. I'm not sure how many Untas he's playing, but I really feel like I have to do this, which is a little bit unfortunate. But there are still plays I do have, because next turn I can potentially out the win now with the Fiend Grieving, and then see if I can play. He does have another Ecclesia here, which is gonna normal summon and add Punishment to his hand. So he now has Fleur de Lis as Disrupt and Punishment in his hand, but he's actually gonna opt to summon the Fleur de Lis here, so the Disrupt from that is gone, which is nice. And then I think so 2000, so I take the 2000, I take the 1000. Oh right, this is not game, because of course the Fleur de Lis is gonna be able to attack with 3000, and then I'm left on 5, and the winner can't actually attack since it was summoned by Schism, and that's one of the restrictions Schism puts on the monster it summons. So that's why I decided to not do actually anything here. My opponent tries to attack, but I point out he can't. So I survive. Pretty lucky. So I have to keep the Fiend Grieving here to try to out the Winda, I think, which is a little bit unlucky. Oh, okay, this is actually a really good play on my part. So what I'm gonna do, so I'm gonna go Fiend Grieving to get rid of the Construct, so he doesn't have a Shadow in the grave anymore for a potential second Winda. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to let's see, go for Graph, which is gonna bring out Alec, which of course is gonna be an out for Winda on the next turn. Of course, I do know he has the punishment, which is very, very rough. But I just have to try, right? And the sad thing is, I'm basically losing here because I set the order. Because if I didn't set the order, I could have played through the punishments. Because I could have gone normal summon Tour Guide Chainlink 1, Alec Chainlink 2 to negate the Winda. And then if he goes punishment, it's fine. I can just, go for Farfa. Just special the Far. Like, I bring out Graf, and then if he pops the Graf with punishment, I go Libic, bring out Farfa. And if he pops the Tour Guide, I can just special the Farfa from my hand. But I'm kind of locked by my own order here. I'm gonna do the thing I mentioned where I go like Tour Guide Chainlink 1, Alec negate, Winda Chainlink 2. And he actually opts to not activate punishment here. So the reality is, if he did punishment here on my Tour Guide, I would have just lost the game. If I did on Graf, I could have gone Graf, summon Libic from deck, Libic self-destruct, bring out Farfa, and then I could have gone for a Zeus play like that. But if you pop the Tour Guide, I would have just had to pass, and then I would have just lost on the next turn. But my opponent actually, after the game, he told me he wasn't really familiar with the Burning Abyss deck. So he didn't really know what to pop. So he's making me make Dante, which means I'm in a really good position now. There are some things that make it a little bit rough. Like, if he still goes punishment, I guess I could end on Beatrice, even with this, but I'm not sure if that would be enough, to be honest. I'm gonna go mill 1 here with the Dante, mill the Red Eyes Fusion, which is a little bit unlucky. But it is what it is. I'm gonna go try to swing over the Secure Guard now. And he's actually gonna allow it, so still not use punishment. I'm gonna go end battle phase, which he's also gonna allow. Dante goes to defense, and then I'm gonna bring out Zeus here. And at this point I'm like, okay, so I just get to resolve this. Which means I'm in a really good position. So I'm just gonna go activate the effect. And he's actually gonna change Schism here to bring out Construct, which is interesting. So he's gonna send my Zeus to the graveyard with the Schism effect, and then everything is gonna get sent to the graveyard, including my order, and then I'm gonna be able to go Graf Chainlink 1, Dante, target Graf Chainlink 2. Is there any other targets in the grave anyway? I guess I could have gotten the Alec, but all my grabs are in grave, so it's kind of good to have one of those in my hand. And of course, Cherubini I could have added back, I guess, but there's no real point. And then he's gonna go construct F Chaining 3 to get the Schism back to his hand again, which is a little bit annoying. And then Graf is gonna bring out Seer. And now, since my order is finally gone, I'm gonna be able to special summon the Farfa from my hand. Go into another Dante, and then pitch the Graf to go into a Beatrice and just end on the very best board in Yu-Gi-Oh!, which is Beatrice Pass. He's just gonna go set 1, set 2. I know one of those is the Schism, of course, which will make it a little bit annoying to play against. So I'm gonna go send a Kelcap here with the Beatrice, discarding Sur. Or detaching Sur, I should say. Then Sur is gonna bring out my Dante, and Kelcap is gonna bounce one of his sets. And I'm just gonna go try to make, put up some more pressure, basically. Because I know at any point he can top deck like an Invoked card, like Alistair or Meltdown. And I'm in a bit of a pickle. Gonna pick up Strike here, which is very nice with 500 life points. In the standby phase, I thought about this a lot, but I eventually opt to want to get rid of his set here as well. And now that I think about it, I actually made a little bit of a misplay here, because Kelcap actually needs to bounce a set card. So I'm gonna do a play here which is incorrect. Let's take a look at it. So I'm gonna go send Sur, detach Dante, then Sur is gonna target Kelcap as Chaining 2, and Dante is gonna target the Graf to add it to my hand. And the thing is, yeah, so the play I'm making here is I want to bounce his back row in case it is Schism. Let's see if it is. It's actually triple tactical talent, so I got kind of lucky in the last end phase, because if this was Schism, my Kelcap is gonna destroy itself, then bounce a set, but he could have just, activated the Schism to play around that, since Kelcap only bounces sets. So this play was kind of a waste of my Beatrice effect, to be honest. Which is a little bit of a shame. But it is what it is. Let's see what play I'm gonna make now. I'm gonna bring out a Skarm here, so get a little bit of follow-up. Gonna go into Break Sword, put everything to attack. This won't be game, sadly. But I really don't think there was any line since I'm not playing. Actually, was there? It was on 65? No, it was on 75. Oh, actually, if I went into access code, would it have been game? Am I playing access code in this list? I think I am, right? Okay. So I'm not playing access code, so I couldn't have gone for game. So maybe I should be playing access code. That card is pretty good. And then I'm just gonna go set up Zeus for 2 cents, along with the Beatrice. So this way I have 3 disrupts basically. I'm just gonna set the strike, which is maybe also a little bit arguable because it does shut off my Burning Abyss effects in hand. He's just gonna go set 3 this time. Let's just actually check out his hand. He has Talent, Schism, and Invocation. So very, very terrible hand actually. And obviously now in the end phase I can just go for Detach for the Zeus. I could potentially also send something with Beatrice, but I'm like, it's game anyway, right? So just Zeus, send everything. I'm gonna go Dante at Sir and Skarm at Tour Guide, but obviously my opponent's on 25 and 3000. Zeus is 3000 attack points, so I'm just gonna be able to attack for game here, and that's exactly what's gonna happen. So yeah, that is the game, guys. Pretty interesting game, I think. I definitely think the comeback in game 2 was quite sick. Probably shouldn't have won that one, but that's just Yu-Gi-Oh, right? People make errors, everybody does, I do as well, like with the Kelcap thing. And I won the match. I hope you did pick up something from this video and do enjoy this kind of content as well, because I will be doing at least all the 6 Swiss rounds for this tournament. And hopefully Top Cut as well, just analyze the technical play and, you know, look at some decks and the way I play them and think about technical play and stuff. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like and, you know, maybe even leave a comment if you aren't subscribed yet but do enjoy this type of content. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, and then let's just see what deck I'm gonna play next. Maybe I will just play Burning Abyss again, maybe I'll feel in a different mood and play something else. We'll see. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!